Hello, and welcome to the Morning Walk with Bill Corley. So, I realized that in many of the videos that I've been doing lately, I seem to be all angry and doomy gloomy. And frankly, that's basically not me. I mean, I get amped up about some things like everybody does. But by and large, I'm a pretty happy person. And I'm not all depressed and anxious and fearful of the world in front of us. So I thought I would share a little bit about why that is and maybe some good things that are happening. So you've heard, my rants about being ruled by bands of armed men, and that could be really depressing if I didn't think that we were reaching the end of this. I think that the great experiment of massive nation statehood that began really with the French Revolution in 1789, with the idea of the unitary state that is all-powerful and all-encompassing of man's loyalties, I think that has basically worked itself out, and that the concept is destined for the ashbin of history, and that's going to happen in our time. The collapse of the Soviet Union and the fall of the Berlin Wall, the embracing of capitalism by China, leaving essentially North Korea is the last truly communist nation on this earth, the last complete total state. I think these are all good things, and the rise of the internet and distributed media, the fact that the New York Times, the Washington Post, and all of these icons of received opinion are basically going out of business, very good thing. The fact that more and more and more every day you can get high quality content and information about anything that you'd like. Just the mere existence of Wikipedia is amazing. What I think of what that would have done for back when I was in college, for helping me to understand difficult concepts from obtuse professors. If you look at Google, if we look at YouTube, Wikipedia, other smaller sites like TED, or there's just so many. The Lou Rockwell, the Mises Institute. I could just keep going on. It's been really remarkable. The flowering, I would say, of intellectual and human freedom is in front of us. What we've seen is the equivalent of the Gutenberg moment. And the Gutenberg moment really, when books no longer had to be copied by scribes by hand, was the end of the monopoly of the Catholic Church in Western Europe on the definition of what it meant to be a Christian, and frankly what it meant to be good. Before that, there were very few Bibles. They were copied by monks, and the church had basically complete control over the information content of religion. And with the advent of the printing press, that fundamentally changed. Without the printing press, there would have been no Protestant Reformation. There would have been really no Renaissance. And so it's been remarkable to see that play out over the intervening 500 years. I think the introduction of networked computer systems and really the internet with the first World Wide Web site put up by Tim Berners-Lee in the early 90s. I think that has embarked on a second information revolution that will end up being exponentially more profound than that one launched by the Gutenberg Bible. In fact, I don't think that we've even begun to scratch the surface of the transformative effect this is ultimately going to have on human society. And because people, live their lives linearly, we're unused to thinking of things in exponentials. Even though we're shown graphs of Moore's Law and other sorts of phenomena, our brains evolved for a much slower moving world really don't perceive exponential change very well. And that's what we're in the middle of. When I think about what I'm doing right now, here I am, okay, maybe 6 people will watch this video, but the point is that millions, nay, billions could watch it, could receive the content. It's out there. People have access to it. Just a few days ago, I got my cousin's album, my cousin's second punk album up on iTunes. What did it cost me? $35. $35, and now it's available for sale on iTunes, given that bands make $7 of profit per full album sale. Then after 5 album sales, their costs of distribution have been entirely recouped, and the rest is profit. I mean, think about what that means. So I guess what I'm saying is that we are now witnessing the last gasp of the unitary state. And like any gigantic monster in its death throes, those death throes will be violent, and many people will be hurt. And those folks who have believed in the great fiction of the state, whereby everybody attempts to live at the expense of everybody else, they're going to be hurting for a while. But, you know, human ingenuity being what it is, when the shackles of rule by violent bands of armed men end and a more decentralized political order takes place based on mutual voluntarism and the exchange of value, then I think the world would be a much better place. You know, I've been watching the series, or I am watching, I should say, the series on the topic of Bitcoin on Khan Academy. There's another absolutely spectacular website. If your parents out there, you owe it to yourselves and to your children to go to www.khanacademy.org. Probably either one will take you there. That's KHAN Academy. And for free, mind you, what there is up there is literally thousands of instructional videos on all topics of learning. And in math, there is a structured set of videos and exercises that take a student through the competence of adding single-digit numbers through the end of first semester college level calculus, and it's free. So up on that site, they also have other sorts of topics, and there's a 5-part series, I should say, on the topic of Bitcoin. Now, one can wax or rant on this topic, you know, quite separately from the conversation I'm having. But I think the key power of something like Bitcoin, and whether, you know, Bitcoin is the only such one, or what's more likely, there'll be a series of competing digital currencies, is that it takes money out of the potential for being controlled by a centralized authority. The key element of Bitcoin is security and the peer-to-peer nature of the transaction acceptance system. There is no central clearinghouse, which is what exists all over the world, is a central place where all payments have to be cleared. And this essentially allows a central authority to retain control of the entire economic system to the detriment of the citizens that make it up. And what things like Bitcoin start to do is take that power away. You can't create more Bitcoins just because you're in charge. In fact, there is no it to be in charge of. And I think once we separate money from state, once the centralized violence authority no longer has the power to create money at will and to distribute it to its favored groups, then the demise of the nation state becomes all but certain. In fact, I would go so far as to say that not Bitcoin itself, but the concept of Bitcoin, the concept of a decentralized peer-to-peer currency, is the single largest threat to the current world order. And the fact that they just haven't gotten it yet shows you how intellectually bankrupt this world order is. They're just not capable, I should say, of seeing the world beyond the screen of their own narrow self-interest. And so I am confident that liberty and freedom will win out, and that our children will live in a much, much better world for themselves than we have right now today. There's going to be some rough going in the decade ahead. I think as we work through the dying grasp of Leviathan. But in the end, I think the outcome is inevitable. And the outcome is liberty. The outcome is freedom. And the outcome is peace and prosperity. And those are all some positive, good things. So I'm going to leave you with those thoughts. Be kind to one another. Bye.